So I thought I would just go through what I'm using in my first foray into pastels. So I thought I would just talk you through what I'm using in my first foray into pastels. So actually, let's start with the paper. So I would recommend it to anybody, this paper. It's called PastelMat, and it's a good card. But if you feel the surface, it's toothy. And what I mean by toothy, pastels are quite soft, and you can't really layer them on cartridge paper or printer paper. So you need something that's got a little, got a bit of texture. So this is absolutely brilliant paper to use. It's about £20 for a pad like this, but it's well worth it in my humble opinion. So I've got an A4 size, and I've just recently bought myself an A3 size, which I haven't used yet. But here is the picture that I drew the other day. Okay, so that's the hair, and it comes with nice little sort of separation sheets as well, so it protects the page as well. So anyway, that's PastelMat. I really recommend using that. As for the pastels, what I have found is that, so I bought myself, let me start by saying I bought myself some pastel pencils. I bought the Faber Castell 24 Pitt pastel pencils, and I started with this set because they are quite expensive, and it's a lovely set. They're really good. Like I said, they are a little bit expensive, like the paper. So I started with this, but I soon realised, because most of my things that I'm interested in drawing is sort of nature or animals or wildlife. That's what I'm really interested in drawing. And a lot of it uses lots of greens and browns and greys. And although they said a selection of those, it didn't have a wide selection of those. So I quickly then upgraded to their big set, which is the 60 Pitt pastel pencils. And I've really think these are great. Lots of different colours, all different hues of greens, blues, purples, lots of brown, earthy tones, yellows. So really, I found out this was pretty perfect. So I really wish I'd bought these to begin with rather than the small set, because, but that was just my own judgment. So I really like using them. They do wear down quite quickly, hence what I've also purchased are some very inexpensive, so different pastel sets, soft pastels. These are skin tones, £3 as you can see. I've also got some more soft pastels in an earthy tone, and then there's quite a big set there. All these extremely inexpensive, and what I find these best for doing is laying down a base layer. So once you've done the sketch for your animal or your flower or your plant, then what you need to do, and which I've been doing, is using these soft tools. Again, very inexpensive. You can buy a pack of 4 or 5 with various soft ends, and what you do is you sketch lightly the soft pastel onto the paper. So if, like, you squint your eyes and you look at your subject, you can see the light areas and the dark areas. So think about those colours as a background colour, maybe go a shade or two darker, and lay that down as a foundation to begin with. And then you can build and layer over that using the Faber Castell Pitt pastel pencils or whatever soft pastel pencils you want to use. Saves a lot of money, and it's also quicker. And it's also nice as you're building to smudge as well with pastels. And I use Q-tips Or I also have these sort of smudging tools, and these again are made of paper or rice paper, very inexpensive. If I want to get rid of any pastels, you can actually use something like a kneadable eraser, and what you do then is you just screw it up, make it so it's pliable, and then you literally dab it onto the piece of paper and it lifts off the pastel, so that's quite handy as well. What I do want to say is that before I started using the pastel paper, I bought myself this big pad and thought it was going to be perfect. So basically I'm just using it now, something to practice on for pastels. But I did start using it, and this is my first attempt at a hare, but the paper wasn't good enough. So I started drawing this hare with my first sketch of a hare, and it didn't go any further because I absolutely hated it. I thought it looked like a kangaroo, but the paper wasn't great for pastels either. It was very hard to layer them on. And these are the other things I practiced. The eye was quite nice, I thought. There was a horse there which I'd started. Let me just get a bit closer with the eye. So if you can see that, that's a cat's eye. And that came out quite well, but this pad was very inexpensive, but it's good for practicing. So I do little sketches in that. And also you can use a pastel fixative. I used it on the eye here, and I've put it's still smudging off a little. So that's the only thing I've used it on, is the eye, just to test it out. But I'm going to test that properly before I put it on any of the other things that I've been drawing on my final sketches. But that's like, really, I just thought I'd let you know what I'm using. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's so cheap to get started with a pad like this just to start with, and some soft pastels and some smudging tools, or as I said, I've been using Q-tips. So as for cutting the pastel pencils, I forgot to mention, a knife like this is probably the best thing to use, because the lead is quite soft. It will tend to break off quite easily using a regular sharpener. But anyway, that's it. Just thought I'd share what I'm doing.